A lot of people equate financial planning to strictly just investment management, but that's just not true. A financial plan covers a lot of different areas of somebody's financial life. Could be cash flow planning, tax planning, risk management. If you've got kids, you're planning for education. A lot of people are doing retirement income planning. Yes, investment planning is one of those places, but also estate planning. Now, estate planning is interesting because what is it actually? It's just simply creating a plan of what's going to happen to your financial life after you pass. Many people approach this topic very casually, and I get it because we're talking about mortality. We're talking about your own death. Today, let's take a look at some really famous estate planning stories or estate planning faux pas. This is what not to do, but I think what the stories really highlight are what the importance of estate planning can be in a variety of different areas. Estate planning is not a linear path because everybody's lives are so unique. Your families are so unique. Some people have what we would call a more fragmented family, second marriages, third marriages, kids from multiple people. These types of family scenarios create more complex financial planning, or more properly, estate planning needs. Let's look at a really interesting one. Earlier this year, in January of 2021, the media mogul Larry King passed away. It is estimated that he left behind about $150 million estate. That, by any measure, is a very, very large and complex and complicated estate. In October of 2019, as he'd already been retired and sort of moved on from his career, he wrote a letter. And in that letter, let me read it to you. It was very simple. It's 2 lines. It said, and I quote, "This is my last will and testament. It should replace all previous writings. In the event of my death, any day after the above date, I want 100% of my funds to be divided equally among my children. Andy, Shia, Larry Jr., Chance, and Cannon." Period. End quote. So there's a lot to unravel here. There's a lot to unravel. What matters a lot is the state in which you pass, you reside, and you pass away in. Larry lived and resided and passed in the state of California. So in the state of California, informal letters, as the one he wrote, can count as a will, but there are certain parameters that will dictate whether or not it will hold up in the court of law. He had other estate planning documents that he had prepared previously. I did not know this, but Larry was married 8 times. He is the male version of Elizabeth Taylor. It's unbelievable. He had previously done other estate planning work, naming certain wives or ex-wives, executors, and this is where the problem really arose. After he passes, he has a very, again, it's 3 or maybe 4 sentence last will and testament that does not clearly dictate who gets what, who's in control of executing my wishes. So now this legal battle ensues. If that letter is in fact deemed a legal document, who's going to administer it? Well, all the children are going to start raising their hand and say, well, it's me. I'm the one who should be in charge of dispensing Dad's $150 million estate. And of his 5 children, 2 of them have passed. His last will and testament said equally divided amongst my children. So who is now entitled to the 2 portions of the deceased children? Does that go down by bloodline and go to their children and his grandchildren and so on and so forth? Does that get split now just 3 ways amongst the other children? These sorts of issues become questions that are unanswered, and a 4-line estate plan for anybody, whether you have $150 million or $150,000, doesn't matter. It just leaves too many questions unanswered. The way this concludes is the ex-wife, Sean, I think her name was, and the oldest son, Larry Jr., go into this court battle. They wind up settling in court because they don't want to tarnish the Larry King name over some state court battle that's long and drawn out. The details of what those settlements were are not clear. The ex-wife's claim was, hey, this 2019 letter that was written, to your point, he's elderly, what professional advisors were there? This could have been done under persuasion of some of the children. Therefore, this now becomes an invalid document. Technically, we're still married, community property state. The twisted irony of all of this is that Larry's attempt was to make his wishes clear and transparent and easy, but a lack of formal estate planning did anything but that. It actually made it more complicated, more confusing, and wasted more time and money than he probably intended it to do.